Hey everyone, have you ever wondered how many artisans actually touch your handbag before it gets to you at the store? Probably not, but I'm here to tell you how many. Not exactly how many, but we're going to estimate. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Michelle and I am a former client advisor to Louis Vuitton and I'm here to give you the tea. So of course, we are luxury lovers. That's why we're here, right? Or at least curious about it. So I am a former client advisor for Louis Vuitton, but also a former luxury lover and aspire to have that perfect bag, that perfect, beautiful bag that's made with flawless leather, the shiny hardware, and everything that says, I've made it, join the club. Until I saw past all that vision. For many of us, the handbag was the goal for me, but my mind has changed because all that glitz and glamour actually also comes with an astronomical price tag. Is that price tag justified? Oh, maybe to some of us, but if you really want to break it down, let's break it down. You see, some of us think that we're paying for quality that's going to last for generations, for true craftsmanship, European craftsmanship, for artistry, for the legacy of the brand. But now what if I told you that made in France or made in Italy or made in Spain must be the most expensive illusion of all? So how many hands, how many artisans actually touch your Louis Vuitton bag before it gets to you? The answer might astonish you. See, what we think from marketing narratives and also listen, when I worked for Vuitton, they trained us for like at least 2 weeks in our brain of each bag takes 48 hours to make. They train us to tell you the lie of the one artisan per bag story. Well, that might have been true in 1870 something when the bags were being made, when the brand was being built. There is truth to the history, to the stories of the Coco Chanels, the Christian Diors, and the Louis Vuittons, and the Gucci family. There is truth to those stories, but that truth doesn't equate to truth in manufacturing that we see today. So let me explain. Of course, we all envision that there's this happy cow stamped with the Louis Vuitton logo frolicking in the hills, somewhere in France with this farmer who's been a farmer for generations, who kills his one cattle to sell to the artisan, the little man in the back with his sewing machine who's going to process the leather and then cut that leather and hand sew this bag from scratch. It's such a romantic story, I get it, but that's not actually what's happening, is it? Where your leather really comes from is far less romantic. The global leather industry is a sprawling industrial machine, and it often starts in massive cattle ranches in Brazil. This industry has been known to chop down trees from the Amazon rainforest. Now from there, the hides are shipped to a tannery, sometimes in Italy, sometimes in Spain, sometimes to India or Bangladesh or some very poor country where a brand can operate for much less money. And it has been found that 90 to 95% of manufacturers, major labels, operate this way. First of all, to process leather, it takes a cocktail of chemicals from chromium, formaldehyde, arsenic, all kinds of good things that you don't want to be standing in. And guess what? Some people are standing in and also inhaling these chemicals without protective gear. Carcinogens. Not only does it affect the workers, but the waste from these tanneries seep into the water supplies and poisons the water supplies for the villages there. Entire community suffers from this type of manufacturing process. Most of these luxury brands are under a huge conglomerate. They've got luxury money and luxury lawyers to cover up these stories and create the narrative that they want to create. Part 2, the hardware. The little man in the back who is sewing also has an oven where he forges his hardware, the studs, the zipper, the D-rings for each component of the bag. Now, I've actually been to one of the manufacturing facilities for Louis Vuitton, and there is nobody forging the hardware. In fact, here's the truth. Because global manufacturing is what it is, it's global manufacturing. Let's take any brand. It doesn't have to be Vuitton. It could be Nike, for example. Nike cannot produce everything. There are specific manufacturers in China. Okay, so I used to work for the shoe industry, for the sneaker industry. That's why I bring in shoes a lot. There are specific manufacturers that just do hardware because they provide for Nike, Adidas, Puma, everyone on the list, okay? And they also provide for every handbag, for Gucci, for Vuitton, everyone on the list. Sure, the quality of hardware for an Hermes or a Vuitton might be a very high, very much higher standard than what you would find for some of the more commercial brands, but they're still made somewhere else. So they're made in China. So far we have our leather in Brazil and our hardware in China. How many more hands? Let's keep going. So here is the loophole. Every single item on the bag can be sourced, cut, produced, processed in another country. And let's pick the country. Let's say it will be Italy this time. It can be sourced in all those different places. Brazil, Mexico, Indonesia, Bangladesh, wherever it came from. They can all arrive in Italy. This piece now only needs to be 20% finished in Italy to be labeled made in Italy. Ain't that something? Again, this is no secret, but if you have not worked in retail manufacturing, then how would you know? So don't feel bad, it's okay. Now here's my beef with this. We already know that Dior, Armani, and Valentino were found to have a factory right outside of Milan. It was owned by a Chinese manufacturer, and it had Chinese nationals inside who were undocumented, working illegally, not getting paid properly, sleeping in the factory. For this Dior tote bag was only costing $57 to make. Okay, so yeah, your bag was made in Italy, but at what cost? At what human cost? Now, most recently, and many people have not heard this because like I said, the ones with the money control the narrative. Prada was actually forced to cut ties with 200 subcontractors. And that was 200 out of 850 subcontractors. If that tells you anything, that Prada leather, it is a brand synonymous with luxury. How do they have 850 suppliers? Well, I'll tell you how. There is a Prada outlet in every luxury outlet mall. How can they possibly keep up with the supply and demand if they only had one or two factories? No, they have 850 subcontractors, 200 of which were found to be not compliant with labor laws. That is a lot. If that's just one company operating that way, how many more do you think have not been found? Especially with the amount of luxury labels out there. Even the excuse that if you buy a fake, you're supporting child labor, you're supporting terrorists, you don't know where the money's going, it's not supporting the designer. Well, the truth is, even if you buy luxury, there's exploitative labor involved and it's still not going to the designer. So where is that money going? Let's say you purchase a bag for $3,000. Let's look at that Louis Vuitton bag again, okay? This is one of my vintage bags. Here's a fun fact. Most first-timers in the store did not know that this is not leather. This is canvas. And then they're shocked. They're like, I'm paying that much for canvas with just a little bit of leather on it. Okay. So anyways, just a fraction of the cost of the bag goes for materials and labor, where the rest of it goes to everything else. And most of it goes to marketing, to fashion shows, to celebrity endorsements, and to the beautiful flagship stores that give you that experience that you are buying history and prestige and luxury. So now let's go back to the first point. How many hands have touched your bag before you actually get it in your hands at the boutique? So most people think, oh, like 10 or 20, but the reality, it's more like 100, starting from the cattle rancher in Brazil, and then the people who ship that hide to the third world country where it gets processed. So then you have the tannery working on it, and then they ship that to Spain or Italy or France, wherever it gets cut and sewn for the next part. Then you have the hardware coming from China, the lining most likely coming from South Korea. People who sew the little labels, those are coming from another country too. Then you have the whole logistics crew that has to now ship the items from Europe to the US, the pilot on the ship, the pilot on the plane, the delivery guys, the guys on the ground, every single worker. Now, the sad thing is most of that money does not go to that whole list of workers. Most of that money is going into the hands of the owners of the corporate conglomerate. They must keep their shareholders happy and produce a profit end over end. How is Bernard Arnault, the fourth richest man in the world, off selling luxury goods, things that we don't need and things that inherently don't have value to our lives? So let me ask again, what price do you think you're paying for your one bag that was so delicately loved by one artisan to get to you? I mean, there are still examples of those bags. Those would be the custom bags, the crocodile bags. Most of them are custom made. But side note, 10 years ago, Hermes employee ring was busted. These Hermes employees were making handbags on the side with materials from their crocodile suppliers in Vietnam. So those poor Vietnamese crocodiles were here posing as French crocodiles. What can I tell you? So in the end, what are you paying for? You're paying for all the lies and stories that are sold to you. Yes, there is quality in the bag, but does that reflect out of the price tag that you're paying for? And most importantly, are the people who need to be paid for these being paid fairly? So when you're buying into a luxury brand, what are you really paying for? Is it truly a piece of art, a masterpiece, or is it just another consumer product? And if it's worth it to you, it's worth it to you. It is just good to know what your money is actually paying for. So if you're to this point of the video, guys, I thank you so much for being here on this journey with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I wanted to announce a new platform that I'm putting together. It's called the Handbag Exchange because I know so many of you are overbought on handbags and have requested a way to trade and sell bags, buy, sell, and trade with each other. So I am creating that for you. It's called the handbag.exchange. The waitlist link is in the description, so please make sure to join the waitlist. As soon as I open it, you'll be the first to know. Thank you so much for joining. I'm sorry about my voice. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.